I want to begin with what the White House is now calling its flooding the zone strategy on Capitol Hill. Joining us now, Senator Bob Corker. He's the ranking member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator Corker, the Secretary of State, John Kerry, the Defense Secretary, Chuck Hagel, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Martin Dempsey, they're appearing before your committee tomorrow. What do they need to say in order to justify, to convince hesitant colleagues that this is the right thing to launch military strikes against targets in Syria?
Well, they're going to have a lot of questions, let's face it. And, Wolf, there are numbers of briefings that are happening in the morning at the White House. We have military leaders coming in midday, and then, of course, the hearing. But I think three basic questions are, you know, why is military action in Syria needed at this time? What will it accomplish? And thirdly, how can we sufficiently limit it so that we don't get ourselves mired down in another war like Iraq or Afghanistan or virtually a civil war in this case?
Based on all of our previous conversations, everything I've heard, Senator Corker, you're on board right now with the president. You're inclined to vote yay if the resolution were right now.
Well, I've said from day one, as a result of what has happened, that I'm very open to supporting a surgical proportional strike. But, Wolf, I've also said that I want to hear the details. I want to understand what that is going to accomplish, how we're going to go about it. Again, I do not want us to alter the policy that's stated right now, where our policy is to support the vetted, moderate opposition there on the ground. And I don't want our activity regarding this issue to change that policy. And obviously I'm going to be asking some tough questions about why we've been so slow, Wolf, in aiding this vetted opposition. But yes, I've said from the beginning I'm open to this. I'm obviously you know, trying to understand more fully what all this would entail, and want to make sure that we limit our activity. So we'll see if we're able to do that over the course of the next week or so.
Well, that's a legitimate, tough question you asked the administration. When I've asked the administration officials that question, why not start supplying lethal arms to the rebels right now? They point out, you know what, there are good rebels and there are very, very bad rebels, including al-Qaeda supporters, this al-Nusra front. They want to make sure the weapons wind up in the right hands as opposed to the wrong hands, and that's not that easy. Is that the answer you've been getting?
Wolf, I was in the region 2.5 weeks ago, and I was totally embarrassed and dismayed that not a single shipment of arms has yet made its way in the vetted opposition. I was in a refugee camp on the Turkey-Syria border, and was embarrassed at what I received there with refugees and the fact that they are let down by the international community. So look, I don't think that's a good answer. I think we've known for some time who some of the elements are that we can get behind. As a matter of fact, we've known for over a year. So I don't think that's a good response. I think, you know, the administration has chosen to go about this in a covert way. They've announced to the world that they're doing it, but they're doing it covertly. And for some reason, again, it may have started over the last 2.5 weeks, but when I was there, nothing yet had arrived. And so we've stated this is our policy, and yet we have not followed through. And, Wolf, to me, that's the only way we're going to build capacity among those good folks that you're talking about, the vetted, moderate groups that we support, and that is to enable them by training, equipping, and giving humanitarian aid. We've been very slow to do that, and candidly, it's one of the reasons that we find ourselves in the position we find ourselves in today.
I think it's going to pass in the Senate, just my assessment, but it could be problematic. What if it were to fail in the House of Representatives? What should the president do then?
You know, Wolf, I don't know what's going to happen in either body. I really don't. And as I've said to the president and to other officials, he has got to use every ounce of energy he has to make the case to the American people, which is what he's doing by coming to Congress. And candidly, I support the fact that he's chosen to come here. If it's not authorized by Congress, I have no idea what will happen, except I would imagine he would not take action.
Just like the British Prime Minister David Cameron, he's not taking any military action now that he was rejected by the Parliament in London. Senator Corker, we'll have live coverage here on CNN tomorrow of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing with the Secretaries of State and Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. We'll see you there then. Thanks very much for joining us.
Well, thank you.